Hello, everybody, and welcome to this our second webinar in our Back to Basics series. Just want to stress that this is a re-recording of the webinar that we originally did on the 24th of March. Just for editing purposes, I thought it'd be quicker and easier for myself to record a fresh, quicker, cleaner version. But nothing will be missed or added from that original recording. As already pointed out, this is a real back to basics version of business continuity planning. I mentioned on the original day that while we were waiting for people to join, I was sat in a room and got an additional room to where our shared offices are, just to do the webinar. And in our first webinar, we covered passwords, staff training, and software updates, patch updates. And I just pointed out that the building where we Lynker operates from, it's great. They've got really good password sort of management in place. They use 3 random words, so creating a nice strong password. So let's shout that out. But the real downer and negative is, and I understand why, it's so that people can easily access the password. The password is then stuck and in clear view of everybody on the wall, so that anybody that wants to obviously use the Wi-Fi can log in quite easily. But that kind of defeats the object of having a password. So like today's, if we don't get the basics right, then everything else kind of doesn't really matter. So we've got to start strong and then build from there. So I've got a few slides I'm going to run through. And with recent events that we've had, so there's a couple here. Obviously, we had the power outage in Portugal, Spain, and parts of France. That was a year or so ago now, and it meant that parts of Portugal, Spain, and France were without power for over a day. And why is that an issue? Well, imagine if your power went out for an unforeseeable amount of time. You're thinking, okay, so my Wi-Fi's gone down, but that's fine. I've got a mobile. I'll use that as a hotspot, or I'll do my work from my mobile. But we need to take into consideration that, yes, mobile masts are supposed to have a battery backup of around 8 hours. But doing a bit of an investigation, a lot don't have that, or aren't able to provide that sort of ability. So without a mobile mast, how do we get a mobile or an internet signal? And how would that impact your business? Also, we've had attacks on major retailers like Marks and Spencer's, the Co-op, also Jaguar Land Rover were hit. And even though they would have had a strong and versatile business continuity plan, they're still suffering. A colleague of mine mentioned that they went to go and get some euros from Marks and Spencer's not that long ago, and still was a very hard, drawn out process because of the cyber attack. So the lasting impacts of an attack, and just recently, with what's going on in the Middle East, the war there, which is horrific and terrible. But one of the Amazon servers was hit by a drone attack, and they're still suffering with being able to get that back online and restore the data that was lost. And I know it's a CQC requirement to have any data that's stored in the cloud done so within the United Kingdom. But having worked for a social care provider, I've been in the industry for 18 years. I wonder if that's sort of top of the list when we're buying in a new supplier or a service, and when we're looking at a third-party suppliers, is all of their information kept within the UK? And what we've got when building a business continuity plan is lots of supports and links. So on the call, we had both Felicity and Nicole and myself. So I'm a local support officer for the Lincolnshire area. Nicole and Felicity can support with both Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, Derby and Derbyshire, and I'm also the East Midlands sort of regional coordinator. So working with the Digital Care Hub, there's lots of resources and templates and help, and obviously we can help as well. But with the links we've got here, there's a link from the Care Provider Alliance and also from the .gov website as well. And another resource that I've not put here, but I will add when we produce a little booklet, is the Cyber Resilience Centre. Great amount of resources and support. So when creating a business continuity plan, it's good to look at a number of things. And I've got some of them listed here, talked about obviously a couple of attacks and outages that have happened. Another one to think of is must be over a year two now, was the Leicester City Council when they were attacked. And speaking to my colleagues there, I understand a number of a number of providers weren't paid timely. And how often do we sort of think, well, what happens if we don't get our money from the local authority? But it happened in Leicestershire, and obviously provisions were put in place to support providers, but that doesn't help if you're paying staff weekly and all of a sudden you've got to find this week's wages without the income coming in, or that affect you in a couple of weeks' time. But I think that's the thing with business continuity planning, is you can't always plan for everything. So what we've got here is a number of things that are listed. So Wi-Fi outage, a power cut, a cyber attack, something breaks, a flood or a fire. But I think what we can start is looking at, okay, what can we not live without? What are the things that are critical to us, I should say, and what would we suffer if we didn't have? And then start building the business continuity plan around that. And once it's built, that's great, but it should be a live document. So if something like, I hate to mention or bring it up because it's horrific with what's happening in the Middle East, but okay, so we've got lots of data, it's stored in the cloud. What happens if? What are our backups? What's our additional storage procedures? How much do we lose? I mentioned on another webinar that I did that one of the cyber incidents I've been involved with was working for a previous social care provider, and an ex-employee wasn't removed from the logins, still had access, and out of spite and malicious, they went in and changed a load of rotors, deleted a lot of data. But it was horrific at the time, and obviously everybody goes into panic mode. But once we'd uploaded the last save, it wasn't as bad as first thought, and only sort of hours of data was lost rather than days. Plus trying to then figure out, okay, X couldn't go to see Y, so who was going to be put in place, and remaking a few little tweaks and changes. But that was coped with. But again, it was a wake up to sort of think, right, well, we need to make sure that A, we remove members of staff when they leave in a timely fashion, and B, maybe we should update on a more regular basis than every half a day, every 6 hours, every 4 hours, so that less data is lost. So testing it, I think when it comes to testing it, it's no good picking somebody like myself, who's I would like to think I'm a very positive, happy-go-lucky guy, glass always half full rather than 2/3 empty. So I'm always going to look on the positives and think, oh, we'll be okay, we'll get through it. You need somebody who sometimes can be a little bit, dour and the end is nigh, and ask them, okay, what do you think could go wrong? What's the worst thing that could happen? And when that's happened, what else could happen on top of it? And then have a little test to see what can happen. Or if you're really brave, maybe go in and switch the router off, see what members of staff do. Do they realize the ruse and go straight to the router and see if it's got power or not? Do they reach out to their, if you have one, an IT support company? Who do they phone? Who do they contact? It's good to test it, and really to go to town on it. Imagine the worst, and then hope that should anything then happen in the future, you're in a better place and in a good place to be able to continue and deal with whatever was thrown at you. As mentioned, this was sort of the main crux of it, sort of going through it. It's not about, this is how you should build your business continuity plan. This is just like, get your basics in place, look at it, test it. As the local support organisation, myself, Nicole, and Felicity can help. We've got a great team behind us at Digital Hub that we can go to ask for more support, especially when questions, curveballs are thrown at us. We don't have the answers for everything, but we can support with that. And just one little last thing to leave you on. When having backups of information and data, always remember the simple rules. That's the whole point of this webinar series. But following the 3-2-1 rule, have 3 copies of your data on 2 different types of media with 1 copy off-site. So, for example, maybe keep a copy where you have it. So on my laptop, I'm not supposed to have a lot on my actual laptop, but a few bits I do keep that I access regularly. But I've also got a OneDrive where I can store lots of information. That OneDrive has a cloud backup functionality, but I know a lot of our really sensitive, say, employee data information, contact numbers, next of kin, that sort of thing, is also kept in as a hard copy. But you might also have a USB stick that's maybe encrypted, kept off-site at maybe the registered manager's home or the owner's home in a locked facility. Maybe you print stuff off like we do with our employee data. But again, when you are saving backups, how often, how regularly do you back up? If it's only once a month and you lose the data on the 30th when you're about to update on the 31st, how much data has been lost in that 30 days? And the whole point of having one off-site is God forbid, but a building did burn down. It's not great then if every single copy of data, electronically and paper, was stored there, and there was no cloud backup. So it's just following simple rules to help us before potentially something happens. And I'd just like to close, as I did when we did the original webinar, by thanking people that joined, thanking anybody that looks at this. And if we can be of any support or assistance, please do reach out on the contact details within this booklet. Thank you.